The fire trucks are going in. These men and women never came back out, man.
Some of those people, man, that were there, some of those firefighters and people, those rescuers that were there that day are today really fucked up.
But that's what I missed, though. See, as horrible as that event was, the aftermath was amazing. We were never more united as a country. New Yorkers were like brother and sister, like together. Like we had a trauma happen to us and we like pulled through and we were closer than ever.
Yes.
Proud to be from New York, the Yankee. Everyone was a Yankees fan or a Brooklyn fan. And then when I compare it to what's happened 3 years ago with all the chaos, the sickness that shut us down, and all the political stuff that happened, and then basically New Yorkers turning their back on the police, you know, and to see how divided we are and how many New Yorkers left, man. They're saying 500,000. Brother, if I had to estimate, 1 to 2 million left New York City.
Really?
I don't care what they say in the news. I know my city. Don't show me a couple images of Times Square busy, because you drive through. I'm getting back and forth all over New York in 15, 20 minutes. That was never the case, bro. I don't care if, Times Square gets a little busy and people are like, oh, New York's back. No, it's not back. Those corporate buildings are still empty. Some people have gone back. I have family that works on 57th Street. They haven't been back to their office in 3 years. This is one of the biggest companies, and I don't want to say what industry, but very big company that if I mention their name, you'll know exactly who they are. And they haven't gone back. That's the core of Manhattan. Now they're talking about maybe we should convert these office buildings into residential. That means your city, the city that I knew, the city that terrorists couldn't destroy, right, is never coming back to what I knew it as. It's gone. I'm never going to see it again. I posted today on my Instagram. I made a video about it. I don't think I'll ever see the New York that I knew. And to me, it's devastating. I love my city. I love, like you said, growing up there. Do you know why I love New York? Because I may never feel safe enough to go to Afghanistan, but if I wanted to learn about the Afghani people, I can go to the Afghani restaurant on 9th Avenue, sit down with Muhammad, explain to me about how his family fought the Russians and then he made it out alive. And I get to experience this culture and the food, and it's authentic as hell, as if I was in Kabul. And I've been all over the world, man. Ain't nobody touching New York's food. It's like, you want authentic? You're
everything.
And you have this fusion of amazing things that happen. And the one thing that really stood out to me is like one day I'm at the park watching my kid, and I see this Hasidic Jewish woman. She's covered, the way the Hasidims are. And I see this Middle Eastern woman, this Arab woman. She's covered, the way Muslims cover. And they're standing right next to each other. Their kids are playing at the park. And I'm like, on the other side of the world, they might be killing each other. But here, I never thought I'd have a Serbian friend. I made one. It took me a long time, right? Because everything that happened to me, the trauma, to be bigger and to understand that we can't judge everyone and put everyone into one basket, and that we need to grow as people and as a society to just kind of like, you got to remember, everyone's going to try to defend their own first. And even if you're right, they've been put through propaganda. They're not going to believe your version of events. And like, when we stop talking, that's when bullets start flying. And to see people in New York City who I know would be killing each other or hate each other, their kids are playing together. Where the hell else can you do that but here, man? I've been to other parts of the country. Europe is not as open as we are, man. You visit places in Germany, no offense to Germany, I've been to Germany 30 times. I didn't feel the warmth as much, So that's what I'm telling people. Like, I understand we have a lot of things we need to fix, but it shouldn't be, let's take out what we got. Let's destroy everything. Let's destroy our history. Let's wipe everything out. If we don't know our own, if we don't leave, listen, you make the same mistakes again. You need things to remind you of the past. This is what we did. This is wrong. Let's never let it happen again. I feel like we took so many steps forward as a society, and then we just took like 10 back, and it's crazy.
Yeah, some of the people that were born and raised in America, though, they don't have that perspective. It's very few people have the perspective that you have and are familiar with that. I mean, you know how much work it takes to actually, like, I know just a little bit of it from doing hundreds of these interviews, but the normal person who works a 9 to 5, working wherever they work, working at their job, going, or working at home, dealing with whatever they have to deal with every day, they don't have the time to pay attention to all this stuff. Like, you got to fucking get your news somewhere. Like, what's the quickest and most effective way to get your news? Like Twitter, or turn on the TV for a few minutes. And it's impossible. It's impossible to understand all the shit that's going on and know the truth behind it.
I'm friends with one of the biggest comedians in the world, gentlemen. Shout out to Maz Jabroni. Shout out to Tehran out in LA. These guys are amazing comics. And right now they're in a catch-22. Their people are in trouble. There was a woman who wasn't quote unquote wearing the Islamic attire correctly, so they ended up killing this young woman, and it's sparked massive protests in Iran, right? For the freedom that many Americans take for granted, right? And people are dying. They're being rounded up. They're scheduled to like execute thousands of people that were dissidents, like protesting against this. You know, I can go protest anything I want right now. I don't got to worry about being rounded up. You know what I mean? So, you know, being exposed, like where can you, like, you have access to everything.
Yeah.
You have access to so many cultures. Instead of like listening to what people tell you about people, why don't you go meet those people, man?
Yeah.
Why don't you go sit down and have a cup of coffee with them and say, listen, you know, during 9/11, we witnessed a lot of people turning their backs on certain communities, and that wasn't the right way either. They're not, listen, I could say I'm this, I'm that. Islam doesn't teach you to blow up a building. Right. That's a fact. It doesn't tell you to, first of all, if you take your own life in that religion, you're punished for eternity doing the act that you did. 1 out of 5 people is Muslim. If they were all terrorists the way some of us were treating these people in the U.S., we would have had a much bigger problem than 9/11, I promise you.
Isn't it like, it's like almost tied with Christianity?
1.8 billion.
It's like
it's scheduled to surpass Christianity because of birth rates.
Right.
Okay. And what's sad is that Christians and Muslims actually have more in common than anything else. They both believe in Jesus. They believe he's the Messiah. They believe he's coming back to earth. Muslims even believe in an Antichrist the same way Christians do. The only difference between a Christian and a Muslim is that Christians believe Jesus was God or a part of God through the Trinity. Muslims say, no, God is one. Jesus was just another line of the prophets. He was created the same way Adam was created. Adam didn't have a father or a mother. Jesus was created the same way John the Baptist was created. John the Baptist's parents, based on biblical scripture, didn't have intercourse.
How did you learn about all this?
I've studied theology for 25 years, my friend.
What do you think the biggest misconception is of Muslims in the United States?
I think they, you know, let's be real. These same people now on the right who tell you everything's propaganda were the same ones pushing propaganda against the Muslims for. Right. So like when people say, what are you? I'm neither, man. I am someone that likes to critically think. If I had to classify myself as something politically, I would say I'm a libertarian. I'm a libertarian who leans a little bit towards the right, but I also have some, like, listen, do what you want to do, man. This is America. Bang what you want to bang. Leave me and my kids alone. I don't give a shit what you do with your life as long as you're not hurting me. Like, live and let live. That's my overall ideal. Yep. Everyone mind your own damn business. Go to work, pay your taxes. Not too much because they shouldn't be taxing us the way they are. On a smaller government, not in every single aspect of my life. That America wasn't founded on those ideals. That's where it reminds me of overseas and what I saw when they're too much into our lives. These people are supposed to be servants, not our dictators, not the ones commanding our lives. So I would say the misconception people have is that when's the last time you've ever seen a movie in Hollywood that ever portrays a Middle Easterner as a good person? You've never seen a movie that makes an Arab look like a good guy. Ever. Name one.
Yeah, you're right.
So what I'm saying is you've been programmed to view these people as hostile. You're talking about almost 1.5. It's like 1.5 to 1.8. I mean, who really has a clicker that can count every single? I never understood where they get these like numbers. There's 9 billion. Do we really know there's 9 billion people? I mean, do we really know?
Yeah.
There's countries where they don't even have census. You know?
Right.
So you've been conditioned to look. I always say, meet people where they're at, man. You know, when these horrible things happened, there was a lot of people that did a lot of extraordinary work to build bridges between these communities. One of them is Hamza Yusuf. This is a guy that converted to Islam. His original name was David Hansen. He's the founder of the Zaytuna Institute out in Burbank, California. An amazing human being who's built bridges between all communities and faiths. He was present during the burial of Muhammad Ali. Him and I believe the guy's name was, I forgot. My brain's fried here, man. But my point is, it's when conversation breaks down. It's when you give voice and put people under a microscope and you're focusing on the worst element of them. 0.8 billion, you know?
Yeah, they're basically the propaganda was we just applied the ideals of a couple guys in a cave to an entire enormous religion, a vast body.